What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Early Edge. We are brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary. I'll tell you what, we've got a legendary show like we always do, but the recap screen, not so legendary. Let's take a look. Now, Mike's in the chat. He told you it was his biggest position of the year, Oregon money line. Emery followed up on that. Those are our 2 wins, folks. We have a push in there, 8 losses. That's not going to get it done. Obviously, we've had some decent recap screens over the last few days, but this one is quite bad. And really, there's nothing we can say about it other than hopefully we don't have this type of recap screen anytime within the next 1 or 2 weeks. Let's try to get it done. Let's try to turn it around, ladies and gentlemen, on BPE Friday. Oh, wait a minute. There's no Chip Patterson. We don't have Chip Patterson. But we do have
We gotta make noise.
We do have Buckets. We do have Mikey B. I'll tell you what, Chip is on assignment. He's with Mackenzie. They're doing some college football stuff, but I guess we don't have anybody to step in for Chip for a Chip Me Up. So just give us a hello. How you doing today, buddy?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Big Pick Energy Friday. I will be joined alongside Danny Brasco, Mike Barter, and Sia Nejad, and we're happy to bring you that classic Big Pick Energy.
That actually sounded quite perfect. Mikey B, how you doing today, buddy?
Buckets almost put me to sleep. It's like some smooth jazz channel on the FM dial. Wake up, Buckets! It's Friday!
Wake up, Buckets. We got a lot of picks to get through. Brasco, I can't tell if you could. Okay, good. You were frozen there for a second. How you doing today, buddy?
It's going to be one of those shows. We got Bucket starting with the audiobook version. We got my screen crapping out. We got Mikey B's glasses, smoke machine coming later, I hope. See, I don't know what's on deck for you, but it's BPE Friday. I'm ready to win. I'm ready to get funky.
Watch out, John Tesh, says Colin Ward. Buckets is coming for you. I'm pretty sure Buckets has no idea who I barely know who John Tesh is. Buckets, do you know who John Tesh is?
Johnny Test, the Cartoon Network character.
We'll just go ahead and move on then. Ben, do you want to jump on the show before we get? You know what? I'll tell you what, Ben. We'll wait. Let's get some picks in first. Ben's got to jump on the show and talk about Indiana. Lines are already out for next week. I don't know. Mike's probably already in the chat talking about. And I'll shout them out for the audio listeners. If he has a take on the Final Four here in terms of the lines that are out, I'm happy to report on that. But let's get to some picks right away, Buckets. Talk to me about the pitch.
Well, Sia, it is currently January 2nd, which means yesterday was the first day of the new year, and I started off the new year by going 0-5 on my bets, so you can't exactly do worse, knock on wood. Ooh, we're going to try to turn things around.
Give out 6 bets.
You what?
You could give out 6 bets, and
go.
You could do it. It could be done.
Oh. All right, we've got 2 bets this afternoon. And first and foremost, guys, we welcome back Ligue 1. The French top flight of football is back after their Christmas break. And we're going to start by betting on the one match this afternoon as Toulouse take on RC Lens. And we're going with both teams to score with the juice at -130. I know this juice isn't for everyone. If you want to get it to even money or plus odds, I'm okay adding over 2.5 goals as a same game parlay. But right now in Ligue 1, something phenomenal is happening because for the first time in a long time, PSG is not currently the best team in France. RC Lens is top of the table right now, 1 point ahead of them with 28 goals scored in their opening 16 matches and a solid defense to boot, but they're traveling to take on Toulouse at home. Toulouse currently in recent form has been incredible, and they've been a very tough team to beat when playing at home. They've now not lost over their last 4, which included beating Strasbourg at home, drawing Marseille on the road, beating Paris, and a French Cup round as well here. So these are 2 very in-form sides. Might take a second to knock the rust off, so we might not see much in the first 20 minutes, but I do ultimately expect both teams to score in this fixture. For my second bet, we are going to Serie A, where we have Cagliari hosting AC Milan. And AC Milan are a team that I've been preaching all season long because this is a team with no European matches to worry about. They don't have some crazy congested schedule. The only thing they need to worry about is winning the Scudetto and winning Serie A, and they're doing a great job so far. They have the least losses in the league with only a single loss so far, and they've got Christian Pulisic, a.k.a. Captain America, a.k.a. the LeBron James of soccer, playing incredible football right now. He's doing great. Christopher Nkunku is doing great. And Rafael Leao, this team is firing on all cylinders, and they're playing a Cagliari side who defensively not really the best team in the planet right now. I'm expecting goals in this feature, and I am shocked that we're getting AC Milan over 1.5 team total at -120. With such a tight race at the top of the table, going against the rivals Inter, only 1 point behind them, expect AC Milan to score 3 in this game, but if 2's playable, we just got to take that.
All right, I've got a soccer question from Jeff Stewart for you, and we've already got NBA questions. We got Mikey B on the show, so if you have NBA questions like Ricardo Hernandez or Billy Gonzalez, or if you have NFL questions for me or Brasco, get them in the chat. NFL is really quirky this week because not a lot of props are out. We've got the prop show at 3 o'clock today. Hopefully some will populate before then. I've already got the Baker Mayfield prop in there, but I just wanted to let you know, week 18, man, it's weird because of teams sitting guys. That affects the prop market and the betting market in a pretty big way as well. Buckets, any thoughts on Larn, or is it Larn versus, oh boy, Coleraine? Both teams to score -112?
I love the idea, Sia, of just adding a random accent to the word and hoping that it's correct.
Yeah.
Or it's fancier because it's football. Larna taking on Coleraine, something like that. It's just fun. He's asking about that Northern Ireland top-of-the-table clash between the 2 best teams in the NIFL Premiership. I really do like both teams to score here, Jeff. I think it's a great shout. I think a lot of people aren't going to like it because Larne has been one of the best defensive sides we've seen ever in Northern Ireland. Only 9 goals allowed in 21 matches played, but it's this top-of-the-table skirmish where Coleraine, they can't afford to hold back. They can't afford to play for these cagey draws because it doesn't do anything for them. And in the head-to-head history, both teams to score has hit in 5 of the last 6 times these teams have played. So, Jeff, I think it's a great look.
All right, great look from Jeff Stewart. I want to get my play out of the way because I just think people are going to be like, is this guy serious? So I mentioned, and Brasco, you can comment on this if you want, or any of the games that this implicates. And Mikey B, we're going to get to your NBA picks in a second. So I'm looking for props, right? I've got a lot of leans, but there's also a lot of players I'm looking for their props to come out, and they're just not out yet. It's just one of those things where we need practice reports, or at least the books need a little bit more information before populating some of these props. With that said, I look for something kind of on the fun range, but I actually kind of really like this. This is almost like catered to the show. Ben, go ahead and flash this. We got to bring Ben on the show as well to talk about Indiana and maybe to talk about this average QB parlay. It's a touchdown parlay. Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, and of course, average is in quotes, ladies and gentlemen. If you're an early edge fan, you know this is a bit of an inside joke, but maybe some truth to it. Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, all to throw for just 1 touchdown, 1 or more touchdowns. This pays +105. Now, Caleb Williams, obviously a pretty good setup for him against Detroit. Trevor Lawrence against the Tennessee pass defense, which doesn't really exist. They're more of a rush defense, if anything. Kirk Cousins, I mean, it's debut season for Kirk Cousins because we don't know if he's going to be on Atlanta or not, but he's certainly trying to show out, and he's going to be in optimal conditions at home against the Saints defense. So I actually think all of these guys are potentially good for 2, but I'm getting +105 for them to just chuck 1 touchdown. I actually kind of like this. I think it's kind of fun for the show, but I'm definitely betting this, and it's a normal unit play for me. Brasco, any thoughts here? Maybe not on the parlay, but on maybe how I phrased it.
I love how you phrased it. I mean, Bears Nation is rampant in the early edge fan, and they always come to bat for their guys. They've defended when I've called the Bears overrated or lucky in any spot. Bears Nation comes at me. It's just funny, 11-5 teams, and you got an average QB parlay. But I like it. I like all your angles. I think it hits.
So it's interesting, too, because Jen is pointing out that Caleb Williams only needs 270 yards. It might be 271, technically. I can't remember. But the point is, just to be the first Bears QB ever to get to 4,000 passing yards. And for the record, they still need to secure the number 2 seed. So, I mean, this isn't a nothing game for the Chicago Bears. And again, you're getting good conditions against a terrible pass defense. I don't hate the look. Obviously, his passing yards prop is not 270. It's I think, in the 220 range. But Brasco or Mikey B, any thoughts on Caleb Williams showing out against Detroit? Or Brasco, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I think especially for like the spots you're looking at, you just need to find guys with motivation, with seating at play, with contract incentives. If it's not for their team and their status, what they still have left to play for. I do have a list of all the contract incentives, and I like that idea of like Williams being the first in franchise history. Kirk Cousins is a few TDs away, I think, from 300. There's a lot of guys going for milestones as well. So motivation spots will be the way to play it. You mentioned it, Sia. The injury reports are going to be weird. What are teams going to be looking to do? The tank versus not tank. I like you playing someone with a lot on the line, with a record to prove for the franchise, and with seating at play. So Caleb Williams could be going hard this week.
Mikey B, any thoughts on any of these teams that have something to play for, or any of these quarterbacks in the average QB parlay?
First of all, I like in this parlay how Kirk Cousins has been considered average. He is definitely. People are going to complain about Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence. Kirk Cousins stinks. I know they've won 3 games in a row, but he's terrible. Another one of these milestone things to keep an eye on: Justin Jefferson. I believe he's 53 yards shy of another 1,000 receiving yard season. Now, his props aren't out yet because we're not sure about J.J. McCarthy, but that's another one to keep an eye on there.
And keep in mind, I've got Baker Mayfield under 33.5 pass attempts that I gave out on this show a couple of days ago. All right, we're going to circle back to NFL, but let's get to some NBA right now. Oh, what? Buckets, what happened?
You don't ask my opinion on the QB touchdown parlay?
I'm so sorry.
Just yesterday, I started watching the Netflix show Quarterback, where they follow around Kirk Cousins, Joe Burrow, and Jared Goff. So I'm kind of a big quarterback guy now.
So what did you
Wait,
gather
I have a
from
question.
that?
I have a question for Buckets. Buckets, over or under 1.5 touchdowns for quarterback Mike Spurlunkett this week?
Mike Spurlunk?
Spurlunkett. You don't know
Yeah.
which team's he on?
Plays for the Alouettes.
He hasn't been on the show yet. I only know the 3 quarterbacks who have been on the Netflix show Quarterback. If it's not one
Got
of
him,
them, that's all.
Sia. Doesn't exist, Buckets.
No!
You've been got.
Oh, I
forget what my point I was trying to make, but there was something there.
There was no point, Buckets. It's part of your charm. All right, let's get to the NBA. Mikey B, talk to me about De'Aaron Fox and Wendell Carter Jr.
All right, first, De'Aaron Fox over 24.5 points at -120. Victor Wembanyama and Devin Vassell both out tonight against the Pacers. When Wembanyama missed a stretch of 12 games earlier this season, Fox had at least 25 points in 9 of those games. During that 12-game stretch, he averaged 17.7 shot attempts and 6.6 free throw attempts per game. So you're going to combine his increased usage rate with a matchup against a Pacers team that has the 8th worst defensive rating in the league. And I think De'Aaron Fox comes away from this game with at least 25 points. And then we're going to go to Magic Bulls. We're going to take Wendell Carter Jr. over 20.5 points and rebounds at -120. Carter has combined for at least 21 points and rebounds in 6 of his last 10 games. He's played the Bulls 2 times this season. He got at least 21 combined points and rebounds in both of them. Now, he's had a lot of success against his former team. He's played them 15 times in his career, averaged 15.5 points and 7.5 rebounds. The Bulls have given up the 9th most rebounds per game in the league, the 4th most points in the paint per game. They stink. So we like Wendell Carter Jr. to go over 20.5 points and rebounds.
All right. We're looking for – go ahead, Buckets.
I've got an NBA question for you, and this is a real player, Mike. No sneaky tactics going on here. Do you like Stephon Castle for the Spurs to get a triple-double at +2,000?
I do not. That's
Okay.
a nice try on your part. If you wanted to do a Stephon Castle bet, you could go over 7.5 assists. That's plus money. Now, I know his lob threat, Wembanyama's not playing today, Buckets, but at plus money against a Pacers team that plays no defense, that's one to take a chance on.
All right. Thanks for the question and play there, Buckets. That's probably going to end up coming in. We got to get to so much more. Brasco, we're going to get to your bets next. And then there's a lot of NBA questions for you, Mikey B. So we're going to get to that. But I do want to let you know that you can get your stake back in cash this weekend if your first touchdown scores second instead. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. How about some sports line picks? I know there were some people asking about college football today. We have the pick from EC yesterday, Arizona -1.5 at -112. We got the Seahawks -1 at -112 from Larry. Now, I'll just point out that on the Christmas episode, I gave out the Niners to win the NFC West at +215. Of course, that was some time ago, a little over, I guess, about a week ago or so. So one of us is going to be right. Again, I'm hoping the +215 comes in, but Larry probably rightfully likes Seattle on the road here -1. Denver Broncos under 24.5 total points -118. That one courtesy of RJ White. We got to get back to some of your questions, some more football, including some Saturday football. We'll get to that right after this message from our partners.
Critics agree Landman is a hit.
We roll the dice one last time.
Men die. Oil companies don't.
We're back on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary. Mikey B, Sox Nation has a question for you. I think it's a fair question, so I don't know the answer, but I'm going to ask it. He says, Mikey B, no more picking sides. You were the best NBA capper on sides. We miss your picks. Any thoughts there?
I'm so glad you brought that up because I was going to bring it up. So Sox Nation, the problem is The injuries are like never before, and guys are getting scratched last minute. And when we're doing shows at 10 o'clock in the morning, it's very hard to determine who is going to be in or out of a game in order to pick a side. Now, player props is a little easier because you can still like the matchup. And then if the guy gets scratched, your bet just becomes voided. But if you're locking in a side early in the morning, it's a problem. And then even I don't like to put in bets like an hour before the game. A lot of games, start at 7, 8 o'clock. I'm running my kids around at that time to one various activity or another. So I'm not exactly at a computer once those last minute injury reports come out to place bets on side. So it's just an injury thing and then a timing thing on my issue because I'm a chauffeur.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot. I know we've talked about this before. There's no rules or regulations for how NBA teams have to announce injuries or lineups, right? Because in soccer, we've got a whole world of like rules that they have to follow. It's just kind of do whatever you want in NBA.
You can scratch anybody at any point. Now, the NBA is trying to do this thing where they're going to make teams give their injury reports out more frequently, like every 15 or 30 minutes. They're supposed to update it throughout the day. It's an attempt to try and negate this betting scandal that they had. But that doesn't matter because a team can still rule a guy out. They can tell you every 15 minutes that a guy is questionable, and then 10 minutes before the game, they can say he's not going to play. So it doesn't really matter how many times they tell us a guy is questionable. It's that they're telling us the guy is questionable in the first place.
Yeah, that's fair. We've got, Danny, before we get to your picks, we've got some questions in the chat regarding college football. A couple of things. I do encourage you to go to the SportsLine Discord as these games get started at around 1 o'clock, 4:30, and then we've got the night game, Wake Forest, Mississippi State at 8. I can tell you from doing the college football show with Emery and Mike, which you can still catch in your feed or in your podcast feed as well. I know that Emery liked Navy laying the point. So I do want to point that out. I don't know that we had a play on Rice, Texas State. Jen has a play on Cincy first quarter under 13.5. That's Navy, Cincinnati. So that game's at 4:30. Jen's super sharp. She's all over the SportsLine Discord. I know those first quarter unders that Gipper's picks was suggesting. I know those hit. I think at least 2 of the 3 hit yesterday. So that's something to point out as well. But first quarter under, says Jen. I was trying to find a way to justify taking Mississippi State. I actually looked into that game quite a bit because I'm a big fan of Kamario Taylor, the quarterback that's going to be playing for Mississippi State. It's only played about a game or 2. I just couldn't really justify it because I don't know which of these 2 teams is going to be super motivated. I think both teams are actually going to be motivated. I think the line's probably pretty efficient. I looked at team totals with respect to Mississippi State, but it was in that 27.5 range. It was a little too high for me. If anything, I would lay the points because I think the opt-outs are more severe on the Wake side. But I couldn't get there. I really wanted to come with I don't come with college picks a lot, but I really wanted to come with a college pick today, but couldn't get there on Mississippi State. If you have Kamario Taylor props, I'd look into those. I think he's going to run all over Wake Forest because he can fly. All right, Danny Brasco, talk to me about Baker Mayfield and Rico Dowdle.
All right, 2 props for Bucks Panthers. First, before I get into it, I wanted to mention F. Smith in the chat saying, please don't use incentives this week to make picks. He says they're overrated. They inflate the lines. I don't think it's a decent point from F. Smith, and I certainly wouldn't look at an incentive list and just start blindly betting down the line. He needs that many yards. He needs this many. So agree with that point. However, the shots I might take are like the guys that need half a sack for like Uchenna Nwosu on the Seahawks for $1 million bonus, or someone Dorrance Armstrong on the Commanders who needs half a sack for $250K. These guys are going to play hard, small sprinkles, maybe interested in taking, but I agree with the sentiment overall. Still worth a look. On to Saturday's plays. 2 props I like. I mean, like I mentioned, this is for the NFC South. I talked about this in the teaser I gave on Wednesday. Panthers plus 8.5, Niners plus 7.5. 2 props I like. First off, let's go with Baker. Baker, not the touchdown maker lately, but the runner. I mean, Baker Mayfield over his rushing yards line in 8 games this season. I like this number 16.5, a good deal. Go shop around for this. It's going to move up, I bet, closer to 20, but BetMGM had a good number. Bet Rivers had a good number. 16.5 is a number that he's over in 8 games this season. And he was over in the first 3 to start. He's been such a runner this season before he took some injuries. He curiously just stopped running after soaring over his rushing yards line for 3 games this season. 0 carries, 0 yards. And then he got back to it, I think, as his health got back. In his last matchup against the Panthers a couple weeks ago, 4 carries, 49 yards, including a 26-yarder he broke off. And he's the 9th most sacked quarterback in the NFL. He's been taking a lot of hits. We know about the injuries to Luke Gedke, to Ben Breederson, and to Tristan Wirfs. So Mayfield has had to take off out of necessity, and I think he's going to do it once more. He got sacked twice against the Panthers a couple weeks ago. He'll be on the run. This is clutch time. The Bucs have to win. They haven't covered a spread in 2 months. the times they win, they come up big, has been on the back of Baker Mayfield's legs. So that's what I'll bet on, and basically what's a playoff game to win the division and get in. Next prop I like is a sketchier one. If you listen to our guy Proppy ever, he knows that there's a lot of variance with these running back receiving props, but I do think it's a good spot for my guy Rico Dowdle to go over his receiving yards line. And again, good number, 15.5. Shop around for this one because this is a number he's over in 6 games, but it's really how he's been going as of late. He's got 3+ targets in 5 of the last 7 games. And excuse me, he's had to become a kind of vital part with that dual threat back. That's how the Panthers go with him. He had 4 receptions, 6 targets, and 14 yards only against the Bucs. He kind of just got bottled up everywhere. He only had 9 carries for 29 yards as well. And although Bryce Young's been pretty well protected, the Bucs got to him twice, sacked him a couple times. Vita Vea was getting good middle pressure. He took 9 QB hits. Like I mentioned, Panthers offensive lineman very good, but 9 QB hits against Young. I think that means he's going to be more likely this time around to get the ball out quick, maybe a little screen action, and Rico Dowdle can get over this low number of 15.5 receiving yards. Hopefully the game script works out in our way. Like Proppy mentions, it's a very variant prop. But if the Panthers go down early, I definitely think that Young will be mixing in some short area targets to Dowdle. And if he breaks off one big one, he can catch this in 1 reception. So give me Baker over, give me Dowdle over receiving, and give me that teaser. See, I'm feeling real good about that +8.5, +7.5. Saturday teaser.
Oh, that's right. The teaser you gave out earlier in the week. Yeah, the Baker Mayfield rushing yards is interesting. So I have his under 33.5 pass attempts, but that's still a lot of dropbacks. And with those dropbacks, obviously comes the potential to rush. And I'm actually hoping I'm hoping yours hits because it means on some of those dropbacks, he's not throwing the ball. And that's one less pass attempt I have to worry about. So something to consider there. We'll take some NFL questions if you have them, but let's get to, before we get back to soccer buckets, let's get to Katie Taylor. Con Knipple comes up on this show. I think like Con Knipple's like the mascot of this show. Katie Taylor says Con Knipple over 16.5 points, -120, Mikey.
Yeah, I would lean over there. Miles Bridges is supposed to be back for the Hornets tonight, so that's not exactly great for Knipple's usage rate, but he's been good even when Bridges plays. Bucks are not a very good defensive team, so I would lean over there.
How about thoughts on Jalen Brunson over 36.5 points and assists?
Yeah, it's a big number.
Yeah.
I do like it. Because he's playing the Hawks. The Hawks play no defense. He didn't go over this the last time they played. No Josh Hart. Now, that's big because Josh Hart might not be the biggest name on the Knicks, but he's a very good passer, and he has the ball in his hands a lot. So with him not playing, that could be more assist opportunities for Brunson in addition to his hefty shot attempts.
Curry over 25.5 points, Mikey.
No, don't touch Steph Curry tonight because he's listed as questionable, and Draymond Green is out. So this could be one of those games that the Warriors just kind of punt things. And maybe Curry doesn't play at all, but I don't want to touch Curry stuff tonight.
How about Colin Sexton, 11.5 points?
Nah, I wouldn't mess with that simply because the Hornets are getting healthy. Like mentioned, Bridges coming back. Really, the only guy they're missing right now is Kalkbrenner, and that doesn't really affect Sexton at all. So I wouldn't be betting Sexton props either way.
Buckets, AC Milan, money line, and match over 2.5 at +150 from Steve Folkerts.
I really like it, Steve Folkerts. My score prediction for this one when I did a write-up on SportsLine was 3-1 AC Milan. Both teams to score has hit the last 4 times they've played. But again, I'm just too high on how Milan's playing right now. I expect them to win this, albeit in a high-scoring game.
All right, now might be a good time. And I will get to the ladder Fox question for Mikey B because there are questions about laddering Fox potentially, Mikey B. Ben, do you want to come on to the show and not necessarily to gloat, but maybe to comment on, because I don't know if Mike commented on it, Indiana being a 4-point favorite next week? I mean, I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment. Nice shirt. For the audio listeners, of course, it's a blood red Indiana Hoosiers shirt. I feel like this team is like too good right now. They were on, like, they couldn't, I mean, it was embarrassing. Like, for all of you that are like making fun of JMU being in the college football playoff and all that, and it's like, hey, we want to avoid blowouts. Like, I don't know if you watched the Alabama game last night, but if you would swap those jerseys for JMU, you would have been like, yeah, that, of course that was JMU. Of course they got work. So I don't know about complaining about the JMUs and Tulanes when we saw what we saw yesterday. With that said, Ben, next week they play Oregon. I don't know, man. It seems like they're going to sail away from that one too.
Yeah, I'm begging for a 3 to show up somewhere in the market so I can take Indiana laying the 3. I don't think it's going to show up. They just played too good of a game. I mean, this feels surreal as an Indiana fan. I mean, I'm waiting for something bad to happen. Like the generational trauma of Indiana in big spots is just awful. They lose to Rutgers when I was there in 2015, 2016 in just an embarrassing way at home. They've lost to Navy multiple times back in the day, like against teams they should not be losing to, and they just fumble it. And so to see them basically dominate every single aspect of the game is absolutely surreal in the Rose Bowl against Alabama. So at this point, I think I'm just going to buy in completely. I know yesterday I was talking about Alabama first half. Maybe Indiana doesn't have a good start. The bye didn't matter. Cignetti gets the guys ready to play. And at this point, I'm really waiting for that 3 against Oregon. I know that it's the second game against the Ducks. Sometimes it's tough to beat a team twice in the same season. But the Indiana fans travel. They said the Rose Bowl was basically like playing at home for Indiana with the amount of fans there. So if I don't get the 3, maybe I just bet team total for Indiana. I just think this team is too solid in every single aspect of the game. Cignetti gets the guys ready to play. It's tough for me to see them faltering so much that they just lose a game. They're just so tightly wound and so coached well. I think this is a team destined to at least make the championship.
I honestly, again, prisoner of the moment, and I haven't watched every Indiana game like you have. I certainly haven't watched every Oregon game, but I've watched a lot of Oregon. I thought this line was going to open 6. I really did. And when I saw the 4, I'm sure it opened at 3.5 to 4, and we saw Miami go from 2.5 to 3. Do you have any thoughts on the Miami game, Ben?
I really like Miami now. I think I was doubting them too, kind of coming through the college football playoff, but I think this is the team, back in August and September, everyone was talking about Miami is destined to make the championship, and then they faltered in a couple games. They didn't look like the Hurricanes team people expected, but I think now this is that team that people expected preseason. So I think they found their stride. Their defense looks unbelievable. I know offensively they can have some issues here and there, but that defense is going to carry them. Ole Miss is a great story. They're fun. It's fun to rag on Lane Kiffin, but I think if I'm making a prediction now, it'll be Miami, Indiana in the championship.
I'll say this: Trinidad Chambliss looks really good.
I
mean, it felt like a coming of age, situation with him. I thought he was incredible. If he plays like that, I think all bets are off. It's funny, real quick, Ben. Last comment here. Mark Buchholz. He says, I have Cignetti fatigue already. I can actually understand that, but I love this guy. I think he's great for college football. I think he looks like a crazy person on the sidelines, how just like reserved he is, but there's like so much going on upstairs. I love the whole Cignetti thing. Do you as a fan as well?
No, it's crazy. It's crazy to watch that Indiana has a coach that not only is like a fun, good coach, but he's like this college football staple now, and he's such a son of the Nick Saban school of coaching. It's unbelievable how close he is in Nick Saban demeanor and how he coaches and how he gets ready, how his teams gets ready for games. It's unbelievable to see. And he's a guy who I love that he's like with Indiana probably until he retires. He signed an extension, and just the way that he gets his teams prepared, it's crazy to see. You just know that these guys are ready for anything coming on the field. They're very disciplined. They're not getting called for stupid penalties and dumb mistakes. It's very hard to beat a team that doesn't beat itself, especially in college football. And that's a Cignetti team just does not beat itself.
It's interesting here. Cignetti and Mendoza are both so socially awkward, says Jen, which can kind of like sound derogatory, but I actually think she's saying it almost like it's part of their charm, like a Sheldon Cooper type situation, right? Like it's just like they're lovable because of it, in my opinion. All right, I guess we could talk about Indiana all day. I'm sure, Ben, that's what you'd like to do. But first of all, I think your takes on next week are great. I'm probably going to be like laying the chalk. I assume Indiana's going to take money. I'm not sure about that. I don't know who's taking. Obviously, Oregon's taking money, or Indiana's taking money early. Let's see if that evens out. But let's get to a couple more questions. Mikey B, the ladder opportunity on De'Aaron Fox. Are we going too far with that?
Yeah, I wouldn't ladder it. He's an inconsistent 3-point shooter. I would rather have, if you're going to ladder things. No, don't go. Don't go under the ladder. This is bad luck. I think he'd have to be hot from 3, and he's not always a consistent 3-point shooter. I like him to score at least 25 points, but see, instead, how about this? I saw 2 people in the chat ask for a parlay, a BPE Pampers parlay. So I did one quickly. It's only 2 legs. We'll do it quickly. Okay. So I talked about the Jalen Brunson points and assists combo. You can get it at an alternate line of 35 or more points and assists. So add that to Luka Doncic to score at least 10 points in the first quarter. Now, Luka Doncic plays the whole first quarter for the Lakers all the time. He's a usage rate monster. I love betting him 10 plus points in the first quarter. So if you combine those two, it's plus 161. So we got some pretty good odds. We only got 2 legs. So Jalen Brunson, 35 plus points and assists, and Luka Doncic, 10 plus points in the first quarter, plus 161. A quick diaper change Pampers parlay for Friday. This is like when you're out at the restaurant and you catch the whiff at your chair and you're like, oh no, I got to go pull that table down in the restroom and change it in there. It's a quick one.
Buckets, you can relate, right?
Oh, no, not in the slightest.
All right. It might be time to get to the recap screen. Danny, did you see any NFL questions or anything like that? Now, you mentioned ladders. I will mention on the prop show, which will be on the SportsLine YouTube channel at 3 o'clock. There might be some ladder opportunities involved, especially if some of one of the games I'm focused on is the Saints-Falcons game, particularly on the Saints side, because I've been a Tyler Shuck guy for the last couple of weeks. I've mentioned that on that show quite a bit. With Chris Olave out, and I mentioned this on the prop show last week, and I got admonished by Uncle Dave. I said, hey, Mason Tipton, Kevin Austin, maybe you might want to look into those ladders. Well, Mason Tipton didn't play, but Kevin Austin did, Kevin Austin Jr. And if you laddered him, you're rich now because he had a great game. With that said, with Chris Olave out, I kind of like Kevin Austin, maybe even Dante Pettis. Of course, Juwan Johnson will be in the mix. I'm waiting for those odds to come out on those receivers, though, because they're not out yet. So it's things like that I'm looking for this prop show. We'll each have a few props for that show at 3 o'clock. And FFT DFS is today at 11 o'clock on the Fantasy Football Today YouTube channel. It'll be me, Mike, and Meg there. Danny Brasco, any closing thoughts here?
That's an interesting game. Shuck's still pushing for the Rookie of the Year, so I don't mind that at all. I can just fire off some incentives that I find interesting here. If, like F. Smith said, you're interested, don't go too crazy across the board. But like Myles Garrett needs that half a sack to break the record. I imagine it's going to be like minus 500 for Garrett to record a sack. Jonathan Taylor needs a 1 rushing touchdown to break the Colts franchise single season record. Kirk Cousins needs 3 passing TDs to get to 300 in his career. McCaffrey needs 4 receptions to be the third Niner with 100 plus in a single season. Kelsey needs 2 receptions to pass Terrell Owens for 8th all time. Derrick Henry, 2 rush TDs to pass Marcus Allen for 3rd all time. Really cool stuff. And Uchenna Nwosu, this is my most interesting sack one. $1 million for half a sack for Seahawks defensive end Uchenna Nwosu. Just get a hand on the QB and get a milli, Uchenna. I might sprinkle some of those. That should be good plus money.
George Haiti says Detroit sitting most players. If you're talking about the Detroit Lions as opposed to the Pistons, I actually don't think they are. It's part of the reason this spread is only 3 points, and it's actually shaded to the Lions. We know the coach over there doesn't really like to sit his players, and he's on record as saying some of these guys are going to play, including Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has that nagging knee issue. Now, that might change, but Detroit sitting most players is actually not out there. That's not a thing. Go ahead, Danny.
Speaking of sitting players, do you think your guy on the Commanders, Von Miller, will play the final game? He needs 1 sack for $1 million.
Yeah, he'll probably play. Yeah.
I
don't see why Washington doesn't send out all their guys. So that's going to be a thing. I know Debo's got some incentives too, so he might be somebody to look at. All right, more on that stuff, not necessarily incentives, but starts and sits and which teams are going all out, which teams aren't on the 11 o'clock and the 3 o'clock show. I think we can get to the recap screen. Hand up if I'm wrong here, gentlemen. But the average QB parlay, I named that, everybody, so just relax. Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, each to record a passing touchdown. If each of them do, it pays plus 105. And then from Wednesday, Baker Mayfield under 33.5 pass attempts at minus 125. Buckets, can you do these?
Yeah, we've got Toulouse taking on RC Lens, both teams to score in Ligue 1, and Cagliari taking on AC Milan over 1.5 team total in Serie A. Both start at 2:45 this afternoon.
That was beautiful. Danny Brasco likes Baker Mayfield over 16.5 rushing yards at minus 114. Enrico Dowdle over 15.5 receiving yards at minus 115. And then from Wednesday, he's got the teaser, Panthers plus 8.5 and the Niners plus 7.5. That teaser is at minus 134. De'Aaron Fox over 24.5 points at minus 120 for Mikey B. And Wendell Carter Jr. over 20.5 points and rebounds, minus 120. Let's take a look at the sports line picks. EC's got Arizona minus 1.5, minus 112. That game today against SMU. Seattle Seahawks minus 1, says Larry Hartstein. Again, that's a little bit in conflict with my play. So one of us are going to hit my play from a couple of weeks ago, which of course was San Fran to win the NFC West at plus 215. Denver Broncos under 24.5 total points, minus 118. That one courtesy of RJ White. All right, I thought we did okay without Chip Patterson. I mean, I thought it was a buckets. You brought it, Mikey B. You brought it, Danny. You brought it. Ben brought it with all of his analysis and good cheer. Buckets. Any closing thoughts here?
No.
Really? That's it? Just no?
That's it. No.
Jerry
Oh.
Brasco?
No, I missed my chance. No,
I would say Ben brought the juice today. Ben really came in, gave the
Yeah.
Indiana faithful something to love here. He brought the juice. So shout out Ben.
Can
You
I do
can-
the thing at the end when we get to it that Chip does? Can I do the thing?
There's a thing? I can't remember the
Chip,
thing
he
at the
does.
end.
Whenever you ask Buckets to do something, and then he gives then you say Chip, and then Chip does and then he does the thing. Can I do the thing? Can I do the thing?
Okay, yeah. Let's pretend
Finish
that
when
I'm
you're
doing-
ready.
Hold on.
Restart.
Yeah, restart. Like I'll pretend I'm going to Buckets first.
Yeah.
All right. Buckets, you want to close the show?
Nah.
Really?
You know the law. Subscribe.
Wow.
How's that?
we
Now,
rest our
Ben,
case.
end it. Ben, you got
That
to
was
end
good.
it.
Goodbye.